Achieving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by 2030 has been at the forefront for most countries whose aim is to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure peace and prosperity. Goal 4 now focuses on education, which mandates countries to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. It also focuses on ensuring that all girls and boys have complete free primary and secondary education by 2030. A couple in Ogun State are bracing the odds in standing up for indigent people in the society by providing free education to some communities in Ogun State. We have more in this report.
Victor Bashola is the founder of the Kingston Nursery and Primary School in Akute, Ogun State. Bashola is striving to reduce the number of out-of-school children on the streets. The Kingston Nursery and Primary School is run by him and his wife. The couple withdrew their children from private schools they were attended to become pupils at the free school.
My upbringing was a little rough. My dad tried his best to give us the best of education, but once in a while, there may be times when we may have to be chased out of school. Momentary shame as a child did not leave my spirit, and I made up my mind that one day, when I have the opportunity, I'll be able to help one or two children. I did not really plan to go all scale out. Myself and my wife, who happened to be the proprietress, decided to start the school. We were planning to start a normal business private school until when we had gotten the facility and in the place of prayer, I got an inspiration in my spirit to start a free school. I believe that years later, when these children become great in life, their success will be my joy.
It is a 100% free school for indigent children. Pupils here have access to free books, uniforms, and 1 meal per day.
Grace of God, I have 2 kids here. The 2 are girls. And the reason why I brought them in is because of some financial advices we're having in the home. I was almost spending about close to 90-something thousand.
Every term?
Yeah, every term. So we're not living in this area, so we're living outside Akute. But when I came, the situation was a bit rough. So we're thinking, how do we get that kind of huge amount of money? So for one term they were at home, I am 100% relaxed.
The school presently caters for 35 pupils. Though the couple would like to bring in more children, limited furniture and space frustrate that dream. For 10 months, Bashola has been able to pay salaries to the teachers, but the recurring expenses are becoming uphill tasks.
When we started, we had to ensure that we are paying the highest salary in this environment. I didn't want a situation where we attract low-quality teachers. The moment we attract low-quality teachers, we will have the project will be messed up. So we had to ensure that we are one of the highest-paying schools in this environment. In fact, in this environment, they pay BSc 22,000, they pay NC 18,000, they pay SSC 12,000. Here we pay SSC 20,000 and we pay NC 30,000. We ensure that we are paying the government minimum wage so as to attract the best of hands. So with the challenge we are having is salaries, challenge we are having is exercise books, textbooks. If we get publishers that can help us donate textbooks to the school, it will help to alleviate a lot of stress. The uniforms, you'll notice that 90% of the students have uniforms, but some that just joined recently don't have uniforms. The rent for the facility is 1.5 million. That's one of the major headaches. In fact, they told me last week that it has expired. The landlord, whether you're doing free school or not, you have to pay the landlord.
There are about 12 staff right now, and we need a lot of things. We need furnitures. I would rather prefer a bigger place, a bigger space. As much as 2-story, I would love it, because when I go out right now, when we go outside, you find out that children are roaming around the streets, and if you call them, they were in school 2 years ago, they were in school last year, but their parents can afford it.
Bashola believes that $1 daily will go a long way in keeping a child happy and ensuring proper assimilation of knowledge.
Basic primary education should be free across board, not just in the government school, but in private schools. Private schools should be funded, should be supported by the government to ensure that primary 1 to 6 is totally free.
Sarah Ayeku, TVC News.
All right, we have joining us in the studio an advocate for free education, Victor Bashola. Good morning. And all I can say from that report is well done to
Thank you, ma.
And your wife.
Thank you, ma. Thank
Good
you,
morning.
Ma. Good morning, ma. Good morning.
Right, let's begin from how challenging it has been at ensuring free education for persons in that environment in Ogun State. The kind of support that you are getting, and if you are not getting, and how the journey has been. How long has this journey been? 2
The
years?
school will be 2 years, September 8th.
Wow, that's my birthday.
Wow.
Right, so how has the journey been?
It has been a journey of faith. I would like to begin by appreciating God, because if there was a list of those that could afford to start a free school, I'm sure my name should not be on that list. If there was a list of those that had the capacity to run a free school, I'm not supposed to be among those people, because as when the vision came, yes, I was running a publishing firm. I was already doing okay with my wife and 2 boys, but the weight of running a free school was heavier than what my personal business could carry. So that's why I say I thank God. And I also thank God because if I had not taken up that vision, another person would have done it. And you would have just passed one day and you will see a free school in that same environment, and you will just remember that God told you, but you didn't have enough compassion or faith to carry it out. So I want to thank God for giving me the vision. And I also want to thank my wife, because when that vision came and I told her about running a free school, she fell sick. For about
Why?
2 weeks, she was hospitalized. Because as a woman, she understands the financial capacity of the home, that it cannot match what this madness that my husband wants to start. Yes, she has been used to me because we're on campus together doing big things, but this one was bigger than whatever it is that her husband has dared in the past. Because a school, even those that run normal school, have their own unique challenges, not to talk of bring the students, don't pay for anything, don't pay for this, don't pay for that. So at the beginning, out of fear, I didn't start with totally free. I said, just pay for textbook and pay for uniform. Don't pay for school fees, don't pay for PTA, don't pay for ID card, don't pay for anything. The first term was very challenging because I was acting in disobedience.
Because and they were paying.
No, they were
Even
paying
for the
uniform.
basic,
Yes, just uniform. I think they were paying 9,500 for uniform, and then for the whole term, and about around the same amount also for textbook and notebook for the whole term. Yet some people could not afford it. You will see some children coming to school in the morning crying. Every time they bring the children to school, they are crying. Why? They've not eaten. But if you come to the school now, the children are running to school with joy because we feed them every day. In fact, during public holidays, some children come to school
To be fed.
to be fed, because they know that when they get into that building, there is food for them. So at the beginning, it was really challenging. So when I went back to pray, Lord, why is it like this? He said to me, I didn't ask you to do tuition free. Remove everything, but the uniform plus the books, remove it. So I called for PTA meeting after the first term. And 1 or 2 parents said when they were coming for that PTA meeting, they suspected that the first term was advert. The first term was a scheme to gather them together, that we're about to tell them to start paying now. Only for me to announce in an emotional laden environment. You have to be in that hall to feel the emotion. And I said, beginning from next term, you no longer pay for books, you no longer pay for uniform. And Elijah, whose child was in the school, broke down in tears. She was physically weeping. That the last time she saw such a thing was in the north. That she cannot believe that a church, a pastor, will ask people not to pay. In fact, to round up that PTA meeting that day was an emotional thing for me, because you could feel people's hearts that this thing that this young man and the wife are about to do, only God can support them.
And this has been, this has been the journey, so to speak,
For
you know,
2 years.
since this, September 8, 2021.
2021.
2020, okay.
Yes.
But you said earlier on that when you acted in disobedience, you know, despite the fact that parents were paying for uniform and the books, you experienced hiccups. But upon you obeying, you know, the divine mandate, walk us through, you know, how you've basically been running this venture, this initiative.
Without any support, so to
Oh,
speak, or
yes,
payments
obligation,
from parents.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, number one, at the beginning, because of the standard, remember I said I was not planning to run a free school.
Yeah.
So I'd gotten quality uniforms. I'd mapped out how the school would be one of the best in that environment. In fact, in that environment, they pay BSc 22,000. They pay SSC what you don't even want to know. So I said at the beginning, we're going to pay 30,000. We're going to pay our non-academic staff 20,000. The cost of running the school was far bigger than the little they were paying for uniform and paying for books. But when we removed, don't pay for this, don't pay for that, God now began to touch the heart of one or two persons. Okay, I'll support one student, I'll support one child. God touched some pastors, God touched my father in the Lord, and God began to touch people. They began to respond. I'll give uniform. In fact, some churches you can never even believe will respond. It's a person from a Celestial Church of Christ that supplied all the uniforms. Someone that I've never met. I also want to appreciate TVC because last year, when they were about to chase us from that facility because we could not afford to pay the rent of 1.5 million, TVC came on a rescue mission. If you had not come that time, there would have been war in heaven. Because I'm telling you, because at that point, we had just few days to pay. And TVC came, sent our dear sister Sarah, and she came, did that report, and people began to know, oh, this kind of thing is even happening in this environment. People didn't believe. Some people that were living around the school did not bring their children. They felt it was going to be impossible. They felt this pastor would not be able to sustain it. Of course, they were right. Physically, I didn't look like I was able to sustain it. Until date, I'm not able to sustain it. It is God that is sustaining
And you don't
it.
put out, you don't ask or solicit for help. You just wait for anyone who just walks up to you to say
Oh,
that.
we do.
Right.
Okay. When the opportunity presents itself, we ask for help.
Okay.
Sometimes some people will promise and not respond. Sometimes those that you don't even expect will hear about the school and God will move their heart to support. And it has been, that journey has been a journey of faith. Like today's end, the month is ending today now. I don't know who God will use to pay the salaries of this month, but it must be paid. In fact, there are some times when God bless the staff. There are some times when they've had to forfeit their salaries. There was a time we were owing for 2 months. And 2 of the staff walked up to me and said, Director, forget about my salary for the last 2 months.
How do you source
Right.
for the staff? Okay. How do you source for the staff?
We place out adverts.
Okay.
And right now, our salary is currently 50,000 for BSc and then 30,000 for non-academic staff. So we are currently one of the highest paying schools in that environment. So we don't have issues getting staff.
Okay,
They know that the school pays a very high salary.
And they know that the school is free upon when they upon the
Well,
time.
yes, you are collecting the amounts of salary you are collecting, but package your heart. It may not come.
Because this is how the school runs.
It may not come on the day it's supposed to come, but it will come.
Now, I am interested in how this is changing the mindset of parents towards education in that aspect, because we have quite a number of persons who are out of school. And how has this changed that narrative within that environment?
Okay, in Akute is a very unique place. Akute is a place where many people that work in Lagos live. There are some people that want to give their children quality education, but they don't have the means. Because before the students are admitted, after we conduct entrance exam, we interview the parents to be sure that you just don't want to take advantage of the fact that it's a free school, that you really want your children to go to school and you don't have the means. So we have children in that school. I think we have 1 or 2 house helps in the school. We have children of people that that do this Okada transport. We have you will know that if not for this school, there's some students in that school that have not been to school since lockdown. They've not gone to school since lockdown. So for about 2-3 years, they've been at home. So if not for that educational intervention, they would have still continued to be at home. In fact, what we are doing is a scratch of the over 20 million Nigerian students, according to UNESCO, that are out of school. As I was coming here this morning, I said, if we took only 48 out of the street, out of 20 million, then God, why not duplicate what we are doing in different communities so that there can be, at least we can dent that population of 20 million. We can reduce it because the people you don't train today will give you problems tomorrow.
And education is, education management or school management is generally competitive in, everywhere. So another concern would be what your relationship is with, school owners in the area, in the government. I mean, how is this received by other
such that you're maintaining the standard required?
Oh, yes. Like I said, I didn't plan to start a free school. So every standard that should have been put in place, curriculum, teaching materials, in fact, the textbooks we use in the school are one of the best, from one of the best publishers. I don't even allow people to donate used books. You can't donate used books to the school because the children, I take them personally like my children. Don't forget that my 2 children are in the school.
Okay.
So whatever standard that my children would have gotten anywhere I would have sent them is the same standard that these children are enjoying. We teach French, we teach Phoenix. At the point in time, we're teaching Chinese until we could no longer afford the Chinese teacher, amen. But we continue with the French. The French teacher is still with us. The Phonics teacher is still with us. We have entrepreneurship classes. People come once in a while to teach the children. Like tomorrow, a group is coming to teach the children how to do coloring with their hands. Once in a while, we bring in professionals to teach in areas where the current teachers we have are lacking, because I believe that quality education should be free, and free education should be quality.
Now, I see you have some books there
yes.
that would like to perhaps look into it.
Yes.
Talk about those books.
Okay, I wrote this book, The Spirit of Creativity, because I believe that every human being is born with unique gifts and unique talents. And if you don't take advantage of the gifts and the talents that you have, you will suffer. If you have nothing to offer, you will suffer. Yes, please, because when God sent you to this world, He sent you with uniqueness. And it's that uniqueness that you're supposed to trade for money. If you don't trade it,
there are those who don't know what that uniqueness is.
That is one of the things I wrote about in this book. It's very easy for you to know what your uniqueness is. Your difference is your uniqueness. What you know how to do better than others is your uniqueness. What you used to do when you were a child, when you had no fear, when there was no fear in your heart, what you used to do when you were a child is one of your major uniqueness. And what your friends tell you that you are good about, but there are things about you that your friends will tell you, you may not know. Your friends will tell you, but sometimes what we do is that we commonize what we have. We want to use what the other person has. So this book, The Spirit of Creativity, talks about how we can use our creative potential to fulfill our destiny. 10 wisdom keys to starting a successful business. I talked about basic things that we can imbibe for our business. And then this one, breaking the yoke of chronic and acidic poverty. My God. Poverty is not an absence of money. Poverty is an absence of the willpower to do whatever it takes legitimately to get money. If you are desperate enough to change your financial situation, nothing can stop you. Right. Nothing is strong enough to stop a man that is desperate enough to legitimately. He will do everything and anything legitimately possible to change his financial situation. All the excuses we give, they are nice excuses, but they are useless. There are people that have had the same situation and they change their story. So this book talks about how to come out of poverty.
Okay, so in our present day world now, people say there are skills that you are taught in schools. There are skills that are for the street, but as in they have become very, very needed. Looking at these books that you came with, the issue of identifying your talents, these are not stuff that you learn in school, basically. The regular child is always left on. I'm trying to know how, if you incorporate, these ideals into, your school career, how you stand out, how to ensure that,
helping
beyond
the
what
children
you're giving,
identify
beyond what you're giving academically, you are also empowering the children. Is this something you are thinking about?
Oh yes. We currently do it. We have one or two consultants that we bring to the school that comes to teach baking, comes to teach soap making, comes to teach entrepreneurship classes. And once in a while, I also go there to teach them what I know, because I'm a book publisher, I'm a writer, I'm a pastor. I'm multi-talented. And one of the problems of multi-talented people, if you're not careful, is confusion.
Yeah.
If you are multi-talented and you don't know how to use your dominant gift to drag the other gifts along, you will be a multi-talented, confused person. So I teach them how to manage their multiple talents for those that are multi-talented. I teach them how to work with their hands. Like the last time we taught our children how to do how to do hats. They did some that they were able to sell to their parents. So we are teaching them from basic primary school how not to depend only on paper education.
Interesting. For those who perhaps might want to reach out to you, in fact, before then, what is the future you see for your students, for your school? How far are you willing to go?
Oh, yes. By next year, the current students in Basic 5, they will be going to Basic 6 in September. And by next year, they will go to secondary school. I strongly believe that by that time, we will start secondary school for them, because I would not want, after they have enjoyed primary education, then they drop out of school again. Whatever it is that we have done will have been useless. So I'm seeing, in fact, there's a building behind the school that is currently for sale. I'm seeing the possibility of buying that building so that we can use that building to set up the school, set up the secondary school, and then just move. We just have to just break the fence and just move into the building. Strategically positioned. In fact, once we break that fence, there will be plenty of ventilation for the primary school, and we will stop paying 1.5 million. I'm trusting God for 1.5 million every year. Now, I see the secondary school, I see more students, I see us taking in more students, because there are people that we have had to turn back. And some of that encounter was tearful, it's painful to me, because we don't have space now to take in more students. So we need a bigger space so that we don't overcrowd and choke the students together. How far I'm willing to go, till when God calls me home. The school will be there until when God decides to end this earth.
All right. Well, I didn't know this was the dimension of the interview before now. I was, but it's good you're here. I like the feel, the twist of this interview and meeting you. But let me try and get your take now on moves by the country, the present administration regarding free education. There's this act that the president just signed into law that just assented to, talking about the access to education law, and that has brought up a lot of reactions. Some saying it is good, talking about people having to drop out of school basically just because they cannot afford tuition, higher institution especially. What do you really think, especially in line with what you're doing?
If you have never had to drop out of school before, you can say anything you like. If they've never chased you out of school before, you can say anything that you like. When I was growing up, they chased us plenty times. So there's an emotional trauma that comes with seeing your mates doing what you are normally supposed to be doing with them, but you are denied just because of the economic situation of your parents. Now, if you have ever dropped out of school for any reason, you will appreciate what the president is trying to do. He's trying to tell us that nothing should stop you from going to school. So I don't see any reason why anybody would not want to take advantage of that. If truly you want to go to school, if truly you see education as an escape route from poverty, because you can never be free from poverty until you are mentally free. If your mind is not educated, whatever money that comes into your hand will reduce the level of your mind. That's why you see some people get accidental money, and after a while, the money reduces back to the level they were before the money came, because their mind was not prepared for such break. Now, if you believe in education, you will believe in what the present administration of the president is trying to do. Let everyone be an educated population is a better population.
Right. Now, for those who might perhaps want to reach out to you, or for those who might want to get your book, how do they, or who might want to contribute to the growth of the school in one way or the other, how do they reach you?
Okay, you can reach me on Facebook, Reverend Dr. Victor Bashola, and you can reach me on my website, basholavictor.com. For those that want to contribute to the school, contributions are welcome. If the Lord is touching your heart to support the school now, do not disobey God, because today is 30th of June. By Monday, the teachers have to be paid. So if God is touching you to pay the salaries for this month, please do not disobey God. By September, we need new textbooks, we need new uniforms, we need new books, we need to renew the rent again, we need a larger expanse. Please, I want to plead to well-meaning Nigerians, while I'm appreciating those that God has used before now, because gratitude is an application for more, I want to ask well-meaning Nigerians, if you know that you have a passion for education, but you don't have the time to do such a thing, supporting this vision is also doing what God has asked you to do. So please, I am asking on behalf of the school, on behalf of the students, and please do not forget that 12 o'clock every day, the students pray for the partners. They practically pray on your names. Yeah.
From the lips of the children.
Jesus, there are people that have come to the students with prayer points and they were answered. A woman came to the school, she was planning to get married, and she just brought biscuits to the children, and the children prayed for her. That wedding was successful. Another one was asking God for a car, came to the school, and I was asking God for a child. They surrounded the woman and invaded heaven with prayers. God answered. So if you are supporting the school, be very sure that every afternoon, children will pray for whatever it is that you're asking God for.
Interesting.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Oh. Okay. Once again, the books.
Oh, I would like to present to you. I don't know if you mind.
Oh, all right. It's
Okay.
fine. Okay.
On behalf of myself and I,
And the school.
and the school, Kingston.
All right. These are some of the books that you can get. Breaking the Yoke of Chronic and Acidic Poverty.
Two strong words.
7 days of prayer and fasting quick, Bashola Victor.
Right.
That's it there. And then we also have Converting Your Passion into a Profitable Venture, 10 Wisdom Keys to Starting a Successful Business. Bashola Victor is the author still. And then this last one, Bashola Victor, author of 10 Wisdom Keys to Starting a Successful Business, The Spirit of Creativity, Uncommon Secrets for Unleashing Your Creative Potential. Again, let people know how they can buy this book or pick up this book.
They can buy the books on basholavictor.com.
Okay, your website.
Yes, please.
All right.
Basola. There's no H. There's H in Fashola, but there's no H in Bashola.
In Bashola.
Are there options for soft copies too?
Oh, yes. They can download. They can request for soft copies.
Okay,
Still
on your
on your
website.
website.
Yes.
All right.
All right, nice. Definitely, I believe that you will be getting calls and you'll be getting some persons reaching out to you with regards to this. Well done once again
Thank
to
you
you and your wife.
We're rooting for you.
And the job you're doing, ensuring that we inch closer to goal 4. The target is 2030. We have, you said, 20 million, like you pointed out. We leave that as much as we can. You're reducing that number,
yes.
And we're inching closer. We'll have to leave the conversation here now. Advocate for free education, Victor Bashola. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you and well done.
Thank you so much.